Y'all probably say, where exactly are you going with this? I see you really trying to take it there. Old school flows chew you out, ain't fair. Jordan pants don't...
Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy, another Zod back at you. Sorry about the lighting. I chose to do it in here once again, you know what I mean? For some reason, people tend to like that back screen. That's your boy trying to be a sniper, so don't really trip on that too much. But I really want to get into something that was like more the lines of it's going back to incarceration. But, you know, understand, I'm not incarcerated no more. I'm on the streets, and trust me, I'm enjoying it a whole hell of a lot. But, you know, when things come up and people ask me questions, I feel like I have I'm compelled to address it. The one thing that a few people were asking me was a whole thing about cell integration. I don't know if it's because they watched the dude Wes Watson's video on what he said on cell integration, and that's why they're asking me, maybe because, you know, from a homie's perspective. And I'm going to just be honest. They asked me if it could ever happen. When I was busted, I'll tell you straight out, that was a no-go. Like, regardless of what anybody said, it was a no-go. And the thing was, like, you can't refuse anybody. That's the one thing let me make that clear for the people that might come on here and be like, this fool is spewing bullshit. No, it's real. That you cannot, I don't care if it's a Chester, you can't say nothing. You gotta allow this dude to come in your cell, and when he come in the cell, well, you already know the moral of the story. And that's just a plain and simple fact. We're not allowed to, well, as a homie, we're not allowed to say no to anybody. Now, whoever comes up in your cell basically is playing at their own risk. You know, if you come up in the cell, you don't belong there if you ain't rocking the same thing we rocking. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. You have homies that, you have paisas that sell up with homies until there's a cell that open up for another paisa. Now, as far as another race coming to the cell, it's not happening. Now, I mean, if you're me, and you walk into the cell with a homie, it's different because, well, you know how the homies get down. At the end of the day, the S is the S, and that's just all that matters, unless you prove to be something a lot different. And people will exploit that weakness, and you just won't last that long. You end up like the rest of them little lame fools that lock it up. But that's besides the point. My whole take on the cell integration thing is the fact that it is a chance that it could happen. I don't know if it's happening right now. I'm not reaching out to nobody. Like I said, I kind of leave the past in the past unless somebody directly gets at me, like one of the homies, you know what I mean, that I've did time with. But other than that, I don't go reaching out to anybody. That's how you bring yourself back into shit that you don't need to be in. And that's just I'd rather conversate with dudes on the street than dudes that's incarcerated, and that's just somebody that I know that, you know, got at me. Other than that, but as far as like the cell integration, I'm gonna just be honest, that's the one thing that dude Wes Watson said that was true. You don't have no if somebody tell you you're gonna do something, you're gonna do it. Plain and simple fact. I don't give a fuck if they're saying it's just being a good, you know, whatever, but that's just the way things go. We don't control absolutely nothing. I mean, as a man, you would feel that we control our own destiny, but when you're behind the walls, another person determines what you will do and what you will say and how you will conduct yourself. But when you've been incarcerated and you've been doing time long enough, it pretty much comes with the territory. So whatever is said, you're gonna do. You know what I mean? I mean, it's different, you know, if it's something way out. But I mean, let's be honest. Anybody that's ever been incarcerated know the most way out thing you're probably gonna do is violence. That's it. It's not gonna be no weird stuff. It's not like you're being sent to go rape somebody, because we all know that ain't happening with the S. It ain't happening with a lot of people, but it really ain't happening with the S, and that's just the way it is. That's not talking politics. That's just being straight out. But for the ones that continue to flirt with the idea of what they won't do, let me tell you, if you're told to do something, you're going to do it. Plain and simple fact. There's not going to be no ifs, ands, or buts. And trust me, after you're told to do it, you're going to be comfortable with it. I know a lot of cats that wouldn't do that. I mean, they have no choice but to do it, but they would want to refrain from doing that because the comfortability level is not there. You know what I mean? It's different. When you're dealing with a homie, you pretty much know exactly what could and what can't happen. I mean, you can never be too comfortable. At the end of the day, you ain't got to worry about a dude trying to sneak you and you know, do some, you know, some homosexual shit while you're sleeping, because at the end of the day, either you gonna get him or somebody outside of the cell gonna get it. He gonna get got, and that's just not tolerated. So you can go to sleep with a homie feeling comfortable. I mean, for the most part, feel comfortable enough to know that this dude is not gonna try nothing on that level unless, you know, he's just one of those fools that's just a weirdo and gonna eventually lock it up. But for somebody to try something on that level and still want to kick it on the yard, they know that's not gonna be possible. Sorry, my allergies is all messed up right now. But so that's all I really wanted to say on that. You know what I mean? Let me reiterate that for the people that might be, you know, not slow-footed, but the ones that really can't understand the fact of why that might actually go down. Right now, CDC is changing so much. There's so many programs and stuff being implemented as far as like you got, you know, from what I heard, there's spots where there's, you know, deals on the yard, you know what I mean? And it's and that's, I can't say that's can be verified because I'm not looking for it. I'm not looking to verify nothing. If I hear it, I'm just kind of like, ooh, you know, if that's true, it is what it is. I control, just like everybody else controls absolutely nothing. It's just, you know your place in the fold, and that's where you're gonna play your position until told otherwise. That's just, it's, you know, that's like a story I wanted to not a story that I want to tell, but I remember somebody said something along the line that gangbangers are the same or the equivalent of the military. But I'm just going to be brutally honest. When it comes down to us in the military, we're a lot different. As far as structure is there, but at any given moment, we can cut each other's throat. You know what I mean? And that's not to be graphic about it, but I mean, a lot of times you can be best homies and somebody tell you to get this dude. Some fools won't even make sure the call is real. They just do it and act up on it because they feel some sense of you know, loyalty to that. You know, if you don't do it, you feel like, oh well, you know, I'm not being you know, true to the cause, so they don't check. And a lot of times dudes like that get wrecked. But that's what I'm trying to say. Like in the process, we already know that cell integration could happen. Some places, you know, as far as Dude said, it is happening. And for the ones that say they won't do it, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I say, you don't control nothing. And you will find out that real quick when you get behind those walls. You don't control nothing. Maybe on a lower level, you tend to slide by. But when you go on them higher levels, you're going to mind somebody. Because if you don't, you have dudes putting something like this in your side. You know what I mean? Well, a lot bigger, you know. It just depends on who's trying to make that example out of you. But like I said, before was a lot different. You know what I mean? You knew for a fact that there was nothing like that was going to happen because there's too much racism in state penitentiary. There's way too much racism. Nobody really trusts anybody. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're racist because you want to sell with a person that looks like you or runs the same thing as you. It's just because you know at the end of the day, it's like saying something crack off in the yard. And your said he's black and he don't run with the Southerners, or your said he's white, or your said he's this, or your said he's that, and there's a particular scuffle with his group, he gonna turn around and get you. Because so how are you gonna live with a person that doesn't run the same thing as you? But like I said, I have absolutely no control over that situation. And for the lots that really been down and know what's up, no, we don't control nothing, and it's just what it is. It's not talking politics, it's just we don't control shit. You don't even control when you shit, you know what I mean? Because if it's, you don't control nothing. Just understand that fact. You get locked behind the wall. That's why I tell dudes all the time. If you can avoid it, avoid it. But if you can't, then you go in there and you follow the rules and you do what you got to do to get in and get out. Well, of course, you know what you did to get in, but get the hell out if you can. If you can get out unscathed, get out unscathed. But if you can't, then rock until you get up out that motherfucker, you know what I mean? But that's all I really wanted to say on that. Now, as far as like what I wanted to follow up on that, on the military comment to the person that said that, yeah, if you've ever dealt with anybody in the military, you know anybody that has been in the military, you know when it comes to those dudes bond, it's like there's nothing that can break that. That's like basically dealing with a day one, and even day ones can be trusted, but these dudes are like they're each other's day ones. It's like you got the Marines, you got the Navy, you got this, you got that, but they're a tight-knit group. They're basically willing to go against the grain if something was to happen to one of theirs. because that loyalty is built. It's built through bloodshed. It's built through time. It's built through a lot of things. So we could never compare to that. Now, as far as like structure, as far as what we'll do on call, that's different. But the bonds that they hold and the bonds that the homies hold with each other, you can't. It's no comparison. So for the guy that said that, no disrespect, because you're entitled to your opinion. But yeah, that's ludicrous. There's no way in hell, because like I said, at the drop of a dime, homie will cut your throat just because he was told to do it. You know what I mean? The military is a lot different. You know what I mean? They if they do something like that, it's on a larger scale, and there's like real politics behind it, not just us being incarcerated and prison gangs and stuff like that. It's a whole different level. Oh, and before I end the video, I'm just gonna say this for the people that think about you killers and do all this. Just get into the military. You know what I mean? Fight for something that you believe in. You know what I mean? Because the streets, we fighting for corners that we don't even own. You know what I mean? Get you some property. You wanna know something about investments? Get at your boy, and I will try to break down to the best of my knowledge. Something just came up too. Sorry if the video a little bit longer, but something just came up where the investment is a lot more substantial. You don't even have to pay that much to get a greater yield. It's just as far as investments and the time that you might want to put into it. But on that note, I'm your boy Zod, and that's my take on cell integration. If it happens, it happens, and only a few people can decide if it will. And on that note, I'm your boy Zod, and I'm out.
Kneel before Zod!